and welcome to Islam Explained. Today we have Dr. Omer Ergi and Dr. Nuri Balta on the program. Dr. Omer is a theologian and Dr. Nuri is a physicist. Welcome to the program.
Hello, Aysel.
Hello.
There are many hadiths and verses about the sign of the hour. One of the signs of the hour, doomsday, qiyamah, is a sun rising from the west. Omer, my question is to you first. How shall we interpret this sign, which is indicated in Sahih Bukhari, where Abu Huraira reports from the Prophet ﷺ, who said the hour will not be established until the sun rises from the west? Should it be taken literally or metaphorically?
Yes, Faisal, it is again a very interesting question, and I can say this, that it is interpreted metaphorically both and also scientifically as well. And I think both is possible from my perspective, because there are different scenarios in regards to the doomsday from a physics perspective as well. So I will only mention perhaps mainly the metaphorical side of things, because as you mentioned at the beginning, there are major signs of the doomsday, the hour, as it mentioned in the Quran. There are also many signs, which we call minor signs, and they are reported in hadiths by the noble Prophet ﷺ. And what we call these hadiths, generally, we give them the term of hadithul fitan, which means they are talking about the times which is near to the end. We call them hadithul fitan. And the major signs in the Quran, we can sort of say that some of the main ones, like Ya'juj is mentioned in the Quran, Dabbatul Ard is mentioned in the Quran. Another major one is the Dukhan, the great smoke. Some people even say that this could be a nuclear war. It's very interesting because the Quran says it will engulf the entire earth, entire sky. And the one you mentioned is mentioned in the Bukhari, as you said. It is Sahih, authentic hadiths. Abu Huraira narrates it, the sun rising from the west. But also I can tell you this hadith could be derived also from the Quran as well. Although it doesn't say clearly, the Quran doesn't use the terms, sun rising from the west, but in Surah Anam 158, it sort of indicates to it, because it says once this occurs, your belief or disbelief will not help you anymore, which means the doomsday have arrived. But in Islamic theology, the scholars also say that in regards to the signs of the hour, the free will of human beings are never negated. What it means by this is when certain signs occur, it will not remove or negate annul human free will, which means that the signs will be there, but not clear enough for human beings to say, oh, this is the end of the time, I can believe now. So the free will is never removed. And that is why most of the hadithul fitan is sort of interpreted as metaphorical. And when I look at this, the sun rising from the west as well, although there are indications of some scientific perspectives in regards to this, but scholars, some of, especially the contemporary scholars or recent scholars, they said that the sun indicates to Islam, because it's described as Islam, the sun itself, and rising from the west indicates that the Western world will embrace Islam. Or another view is that Christianity in particular will purify itself of all superstition, and that it will reunite with Islam. And
is this a sign of doomsday as well?
It's a sign of doomsday as well. It's a hadith. And in a way, it sort of corresponds with the first interpretation, which I mentioned before, indicating that West will own up to Islam one day. And it's a sign that the son of Islam will born or rise from the West. This is one view. But in regards to scientific perspective, I have read a lot of sort of interpretations, literal interpretations. They take it like a cataclysmic event in the universe, where the Earth gets hit by a huge asteroid, knocking its axis upside down, where the North Pole becomes the South Pole becomes the North Pole. Although I have read about this interpretation, and a lot of contemporary scholars make this interpretation, I don't truly agree with it. Because it doesn't really, sound okay to me in regards to astronomical perspective. But I think it's better to leave this answer to maybe Dr. Balta.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Omer, for explaining all that. Dr. Balta, I'd like to take your view on this as well. Is it possible to explain this sign from a scientific perspective?
Yes, I think we can explain it. I mean, the rise of the sign from the West in terms of science. It will be my view, my hypothesis. I will explain it. But first, let me talk about if can the poles of the Earth change after an impact, an asteroid impact with the Earth. Can it change Earth's axis, and then the Earth's rotation is going to be changed? A huge impact with the Earth is going to destroy Earth rather than changing its poles. Why? Because if something is rotating, it has a momentum, rotational momentum, and there is the conservation of the rotational momentum, and it is conserved. Changing it requires lots of force. For example, anybody can experience this. You can have a bicycle wheel, and you can rotate the bicycle wheel, and you can take it like this. And while it is rotating, if you try to, tilt its axis, it's quite difficult. You cannot do it easily. The Earth is a huge mass, and tilting its axis, changing its axis is not so easy. Any impact, collision with the Earth is going to destroy everything on Earth rather than changing its axis. So, Earth is rotating approximately at the equator 1,000 miles per hour.
Yes.
The Earth is going to stop after the impact. For example, some says that the impact will change the rotation of the Earth. If, for example, it is rotating like this, it should stop. But before stopping, it is rotating with 1,000 miles per hour, and we are all now having this speed. And once it stops, everybody on Earth is going to fly to the space. So scientifically, a collision with the Earth cannot explain the rise of the sun from the west.
That will be the end of it. If there was a collision like that, it'll be the end of life as we know it.
Yeah. So, but how can we explain it by relating the rise of the sun to the other verses of the Quran? In my opinion, or I hypothesize that not sun is going to, the thing that is going to rise from the west is not sun, but it's most probably again going to be a supernova explosion. When the supernovas are exploded, they release huge amount of energy to the space. And this energy is so much that when ordinarily, when we cannot see a star, when it is in, for example, Andromeda galaxy, it's so away from us, once it explodes, we see it. Why? Because it releases a tremendous amount of energy. But what if an explosion occurs in our galaxy? In this case, we will observe it with naked eye. If it is close enough to Earth, the amount of the energy that Earth will receive is going to be approximately more or equal to the energy we are receiving from the sun. If a nearby star explodes as a supernova, there is a possibility that the light from this supernova can reach to Earth and maybe it is going to reach us from the west at that time, and we will suddenly see a bright light, and then everybody is going to be shocked. This is described in Quran. It says, as far as I remember, what will happen when you see the sudden appearance of the light. Okay, so I think the rise of the sun is going to be a supernova explosion, and what will be its effect? So when the energy from this supernova comes to Earth, we will now be under the effect of two sources of energy. Sun is providing energy, and the supernova is going to provide us energy, and the atmosphere is going to start heating. Once atmosphere is start heating, the temperature in atmosphere increase, the kinetic energy of the molecules are going to increase. At this moment now, our atmosphere is in balance. It is in the balance of gravitational pull, and also because of the collision between the molecules, there is an outward pressure. So all atmosphere is not collapsed on Earth because of what? Because of the kinetic energy of the molecules. But if the kinetic energy of the molecules increase, we have a highest speed at the equator. First, the atmosphere is going to lose the gases from the equator, and then once the atmospheric gas is released from the equator, there low pressure will occur. The regular wind is because of the pressure change, but this pressure change is going to be a huge pressure change. Well, because we are losing the matter, the gas is released. So then, from poles toward the equator, there is going to take place strong wind, and this wind is going to be so strong, as it is described also in one of the verses of Quran. It will affect the mountain. The mountains are going to fall, and they are going to fly because of this fast movement of matter. And then once the atmosphere starts losing its gases, the atmospheric pressure on Earth is going to be decreased. It will have several effects on the Earth. When you decrease the pressure somewhere, you also decrease the boiling point of the liquid. And once the boiling point of the liquid is decreased, it starts boiling at, for example, 80 centigrade degrees, at 60 centigrade degrees, 40 centigrade degrees, if you decrease the pressure enough. But the most important, interesting thing that will take place, I think, when the pressure on the surface of the Earth is decreased, we have magma at the center of the Earth, and there is a pressure of crust of the Earth, and there is also the pressure of the oceans, liquid, and also there's the pressure of the pressure of the atmosphere. So when this pressure of the atmosphere is decreased, I think at the bottom of the seas, at the bottom of the oceans, where they are very close to the magma, magma is going to escape from these points, and the magma eruption of volcanoes, the magma is going to erupt from the surface, from the beneath the bottom of the sea, bottom of the ocean, and then we will see that the oceans or sea are boiling. This is another verse of the Quran. It says that what will you do? You will do when the water starts boiling, when the sea starts boiling. So all these events are going to take maybe 1 week, maybe 2 weeks, and the people are going to be shocked, and later on, the life on Earth is going to end, and it's going to be end of the Earth, I think, if an supernova explosion happens. This is the possible scenario.
Just a quick question. How frequently do they occur? Is there a candidate close to our solar system for a supernova explosion to occur? that happen?
Actually, there are different views, but observations shows that they occur in a typical galaxy, just like our Milky Way galaxy. Every 50 years, one supernova takes place. This is the information we have today. This is the scientific information we have today. But you know, we are just like technology. We are also discovering other things at space. We don't know. The supernova explosion can be because of a huge mass star at the end of its life, but it can also be because of another type of supernova when two white dwarfs are rotating around each other. One of them steals some mass from the other one, and once one of them are taking some of the mass of the other one, it reaches to a critical mass. It also explodes as a supernova. And nowadays, I read an article about black holes. We know black holes are attracting all the matter around. They are, they are eating the stars. But nowadays, I read in a scientific article, the star is eating the black hole, and it makes a huge explosion, like supernova, more than supernova. That's why we are not sure what will happen at sky tomorrow or 10 days later or 1 year later. We don't know. Okay?
Yeah.
So this is the frequency of the explosion of supernovas.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, it sounds very scary when that all these events start to happen one by one. It'll be very, very scary. But I'd like to thank you both, Dr. Omer and Dr. Balta, for joining on the program. And I'd like to thank our viewers as well. And I'd like to see you again on our next episode. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.